Everything was good with it. Home Podcast After Dark
starts now. Welcome to Home Podcast After Dark, a home and podcast. My name is Adam Yola, my co-host Jordan. Good day, Jordan.
Howdy ho. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. We were about to start recording. My computer shut off. We're right back here where we started in 2016.
What's the count of that happening to us when we started recording podcasts?
At least 10, 20 times. I don't know.
And we're out of the groove now, so I think it happens every time now.
Well, if Stella got her groove back, then assuredly we can too.
The funny thing about that is one of my taglines has something to do with that. Stella.
You don't say. We're, of course, I say, here to talk about Joe Somebody.
Yeah, we've been talking about this one for a while. You've been dancing around it.
Yeah.
And today's the day that we're going to talk about it. So I'm glad to watch a new Tim Allen film. So
I was dancing around, and then my feet started to hurt, and I thought, let me just sit down and kind of take this one in.
Yeah, I was thinking more of like float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, kind of like the boxing dancing. You know?
You're right. Long before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there was just Joe. There was just Joe Somebody. You know,
he was the only superhero at
if you want to draw
Stark
a straight
Pharmaceuticals.
Line, it started with like Stan Lee, and then you draw the line to Joe Somebody, and then it's all the way to She-Hulk.
I mean, did Marvel sue the makers of this movie because they used Stark for the name of the pharmaceutical company? Hey,
there might be something to that.
There might be. They put an E at the end to try to differentiate it, but I'm not buying it.
Yeah, well, then why isn't it called Starky? Food for thought. Food for thought. Before we get into Joe Somebody, I have a couple of things. We haven't talked in
ages.
I think the last one we did was like Christmas, wasn't it? So it's been a little bit. And I wanted to kind of run through some home improvement related thoughts I've had.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
You are constantly kind of mulling over the home improvement universe in your head, so.
Well, you keep having kids and, buying bigger houses and stuff, and I'm kind of stuck in the past.
It's a bad time to buy a bigger house, too,
Yeah, I can't quit home improvement, and you can't quit buying houses, so we've got those two things going for us.
A couple of vices.
All right, so first things first. Did you know I was down in New Mexico?
No. Wait,
All
no.
right.
I only knew you were in Vegas. What was New Mexico?
I went down to New Mexico for my birthday. Stayed in Santa Fe, but went down to Albuquerque. And I was down in Albuquerque heading to a petroglyph kind of national park. There was petroglyphs, like drawings on rocks from...
I know what they are.
Yeah, but listeners might not. I don't know.
Go on.
Set from, a long time ago. So I'm pulling into this petroglyph, we'll say national park or national area in Albuquerque, and I turn right onto Unser Boulevard. Babe. Unser. And
Unser Jr.?
I'm thinking Unser. Well, I'm thinking Unser, I barely know her. But then I'm thinking Unser. You think it's Al Unser? Assuredly, pull in the parking lot, check Wikipedia. This part isn't true. I didn't check Wikipedia right away. Later on, I checked Wikipedia. Al Unser, the whole Unser clan, they're all from Albuquerque. He's got a big road named after him. Big one.
Isn't that what we all aspire to?
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like the most DUIs of any road in the entire country.
It checks out. Yeah. Well, that is pretty interesting. I did not expect that to come out of Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Isn't that where Bugs Bunny is always trying to get to, Albuquerque? You think it's to see the Unser Boulevard or whatever it was?
Well, I know those two could get into some real trouble together. I'll tell you that much.
I would say so. Hey,
what's in those carrots, if you know what I mean?
Oh, my. At least the carrot cake, I think is what you mean.
I do mean that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like as good as it gets. It's only going to get worse from there.
Okay.
As far as my
I'm kind of worried now because that's,
Well, Jordan, come on. Do you have any Al Unser stories? Did you go to New Mexico?
No and no.
All right, well.
I guess I got to zip it up.
Zip it up. All right, next one. Assembly Required, that show that we did an episode about a while back.
I like how you just assume I forget everything about home improvement after we're done talking about it. Like I'm a robot and you just hit erase or delete and that's it.
Look, you're mistaking. This is as much for you as it is for the listeners.
Okay.
All right.
Well, our listeners know more about Assembly Required than we do.
Almost certainly. Although, does anybody know? How well can you really know April?
That is a good question.
All right, so Assembly Required, it got renewed for a second season, but guess what? It's rebranding. New title.
What? What's the new title?
And I think it's pretty good.
I mean, Assembly Required was pretty good.
I thought so too. This one's slightly better.
Okay.
More power.
Fits the brand.
I mean, I think Assembly Required is more clever, but More Power is just like, it's like they're doing the thing where you get as close to Home Improvement as you can without saying it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
More Power doesn't... It's just kind of a strange... All right, I'll allow it. How about that?
with more power,
More responsibility?
more responsibility, I guess.
All right. I actually like that better than the Albuquerque story.
Well, geez, Jordan, I went all the way to New Mexico to get that story.
Can I rate your stories?
Yeah, I'd like you if you did. I'd like it if you did, Angie.
You like me mostly.
All right. I saw on Twitter they're we talked about the Santa Claus TV show that's coming to Disney Plus next December. Tim Allen's been sharing some stills of it.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, the set looks pretty cheap.
They're pulling the budget a little bit, huh?
Yeah. What's the budget like on these Disney? I mean, obviously, like Hawkeye
probably,
and all that stuff, it's big.
Yeah.
But this one these sets look bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Remember, I watched that one with John Stamos where he was a basketball coach. I watched like 2 episodes of that.
That's come up a couple times, and I'm glad it can keep coming up.
Yeah, that's the only other like Disney original that I think I've watched.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it was necessarily bad. It was live action, so I don't know. They didn't have to use a lot of CGI or anything like that. So.
And hey, maybe I'm wrong. I'm just saying it looked cheap.
It's early on.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
Well, that's what people were saying. Bring up She-Hulk. That's what people were saying about the She-Hulk CGI. So I don't know.
It's cool how every time we record this, like a new Disney Plus Marvel show is about to come out. Kind of means that these shows are coming out a lot. But that did just happen. So I wish we could get the same buzz when, and maybe we will when a Santa Claus trailer drops. Will people be complaining about the CGI in that or something? Who knows?
I think they'll go pretty traditional effects, maybe.
Yeah,
except for Chet. You know, Chet, like, he's always got to do something crazy, so.
Yeah, all right. For my birthday, my friend Troy sent me, and I sent you a picture of this, a Tool Time Michigan license plate. Mm-hmm. That was kind of cool.
That was pretty cool.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
You got any home improvement stuff you want to tell me?
Home improvement stuff? No, I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw Richard Karn in a commercial one time.
Okay.
Not a lot of people are asking me about the podcast as they used to. So.
It's weird, yeah. Doesn't come up as much. Kind of stinks.
I was having a conversation with someone about sitcoms from the 90s or like top sitcoms. I think there was something like some kind of water cooler conversation at work. And so I brought up Home Improvement and there wasn't a lot of love.
That's interesting. That's jogging my memory. And Home Improvement also came up in a work meeting of mine within the last couple months. And seemed to be a little bit more fondness in that. Now, my lips were sealed. In this job, I try very hard to. I
it's
walk
only
into,
when you're interviewing for jobs do you let the cat out of the bag.
But in this job, I'm almost like John Wick. I work so hard to have people know almost nothing about me.
Yeah.
So I kept my lips sealed on this one. But
you're kind of like Joe Schaffer. Before he gets all popular.
Yeah.
So.
Huh. Well, you walk me through that later.
It's going to take a lot of explaining.
Okay. So basically, that's like the last couple of months home improvement. That's kind of what I got for you.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things when we're in it week after week, just more stuff happens around it. But it seems like things are dying down a little bit. But just wait till Christmas comes. We'll be right in the groove again.
I mean, when we're doing weekly again for the Santa Claus and looking at those cheap ass sets, that's when they're really going to come back.
Yeah. Do you think our listeners have enjoyed our Rush Hour release and and what I just released? Oh, Soul Man, which you forgot we even recorded.
Listen to Soul Man, the whole episode.
I only got like 10 minutes in, and I was like, eh.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt.
But you kept going.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
you felt obligated.
Recording a lot of episodes back then, so it's hard to always bring the heat. But yeah, Dan Aykroyd, that guy. I tell you what. All right. I think we've done our due diligence at the top of the show. I told you about Albuquerque. Your response is a little underwhelming, but that's on me. You shouldn't like try to expect.
The problem is, I have a friend who's from Albuquerque, so I think I've heard all I need to know about Albuquerque.
Is it because I was mansplaining petroglyphs to you?
That certainly didn't help your case. Certainly didn't. Oh man. All right. So yeah, let's get into Joe Somebody. All right. 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb. You know, we just did Toy Story last time. That had about 395,000 reviews or something like that. A little bit of a drop down to 11,000 reviews for Joe Somebody, so maybe not as
Kind of
popular.
surprised. Kind of surprised it was even that many.
Yeah. People probably stayed away quite a bit. So we've got some taglines and whatnot, but first I want to get into the trivia and the director information. So directed by John Pasquin, which is great. Obviously, we get a little bit of connection with Home Improvement, Santa Claus, Last Man Standing. So he's running the helm. Written by John Scott Shepherd. This was his first writing credit. Some other shows written by him: You, Me, Her. Save Me. You, Me, Her is a comedy about a throuple. So
Whoa.
that was a little bit edgy. Save Me and The Days. I haven't heard of any of them.
Missed those.
Yeah. PG, hour and 38-minute runtime. Felt a little bit longer to me.
Yeah, it's like, I was like an hour in and I was like, oh, okay, Joe Somebody. But then the last 10 minutes go really fast. I don't know. It's like, there are maybe some pacing issues.
Perhaps. December 21st, 2001 was the release date. Starring
Not a very compelling. It's I'll say good things about this movie, but this is not a Christmas movie.
No.
If they're trying to capitalize on the Santa Claus stuff, fine. But this feels like a spring summer movie to me.
Yeah, well, also they had a really tough time going up against movies like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, and Ocean's 11. So that's kind of a
murderer's row.
Yeah. So tough time to release. Budget $38 million, gross $24 million.
Yeah, that's so good.
Not so good. Starring Tim Allen, our beloved Tim Allen. Julie Bowen from Modern Family plays Claire Dunphy. Happy Gilmore. I didn't really make the connection with Happy Gilmore and her until this movie, so that was kind of interesting for me.
Really?
And then Hayden Panettiere, I never can say her name right, plays the little girl. I don't remember the little girl's name off the top of my head.
Her name is... it's Natalie, of course.
Natalie. Remember the Titans, Nashville, A Bug's Life. She does the voice of the little ant in that, which I just watched with my daughter, so that was kind of interesting to see her back-to-back movies, essentially. So we've got some trivia and stuff. Patrick Warburton, who plays the bully in this movie, and Tim Allen both have provided the voice for Buzz Lightyear before, because Patrick Warburton did the animated series.
I was going to say, it had to be a cartoon or something.
As always, this role was, of course, offered to Jim Carrey first. I mean, everything was, apparently.
Tim Allen's getting Jim Carrey sloppy seconds.
He really is. Yeah. He really is. Also, Bryan Cranston, it says.
Yeah, I saw that.
Do you think somebody's just pulling the wool over?
I don't think Bryan Cranston in 2001 has the pedigree to star in him. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. Maybe I'm wrong.
It doesn't seem right. And then it says, the last one I wrote down, one of the movie posters in the martial arts studios features Jo Beth Williams, who is the director's wife, and she starred in Jungle to Jungle, which is one of our favorites. Mimi Siku.
I don't like it as much
You love
as
it.
you.
You love Mimi Siku. You love Martin Short.
I mean, #free Mimi Siku, but because he's locked up. I don't know, but
what was the tarantula's name? Matika. That's what it was.
Oh, I thought the tarantula was Mimi Siku. See, I'm all twisted.
That's how much you like that movie.
Yeah. Jo Beth Williams, Poltergeist. So,
Yep. So some interesting things there, some not so interesting things
there
as well.
I have one piece of trivia that wasn't on there, but just
Please
something
share.
I put together. You know, this is...
You put it together?
I put it together.
Okay. So you're putting this on IMDb after this?
No, because it's like only trivia. It's like home and podcast trivia.
Oh, okay.
This is yet another Minneapolis filmed movie, much like Jingle All the Way.
Yeah.
What are the odds? You know, there's probably been not a ton of big budget studio movies filmed in Minneapolis, and we've covered 2 of them.
Now you're close. So is this part of your annual trek? You go see the locations and the target that they filmed this at?
Yep. Every like year on the release day, so December 21st, right around the holidays, I drive 5.5 hours to Minneapolis and I go to the filming location. So, the big ones like where, they're, the HR people are running around the pond, the Target, Joe's house, the school with the play at the end, the big ones. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame that you've had to turn down a few Christmas parties with your family, but ultimately worth it.
Some of the best Christmases I've had have been in the car driving back from Minneapolis.
Good to know. All right, tagline time. I will read the 3 that they have proposed.
Okay.
We will judge them, as we always do.
Have to.
Yep. First one. A comedy about somebody everybody can believe in.
It's okay, a little wordy.
Yeah. I mean, you got the everybody, the somebody.
5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. Okay. Someone just picked on the wrong nobody.
I like that better. That's a
7?
7 out of 10.
Okay. Knockout fun for the whole family.
0. The last one is always one where you're like, somebody made this up.
Yeah. I mean, it's not great, but I think it might be better than all of mine.
I hazard to say that all 6 of mine are better than this.
Ooh, feeling a bit cocky. I mean, you did text me like a week ago, and you're like, "Back in the saddle. I'm feeling good. I'm on top of my game."
I say that every time we do this. All right, so yeah, we'll do. How many do you have? 3.
I've got 5.
Well, hey, good on you. All right,
Thanks.
well let's go back and forth, and I don't need to ask you to do the voice, but I'm going to ask you to do the voice.
It's kind of a given. So, you want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Joe, somebody. You gotta fight for your right to park, yeah!
Oh, that's good.
Thank you.
All right. Joe somebody, not your average Joe, family comedy.
Hey! I've got one like that, I think. Let me see. Okay. Joe somebody. He's an average Joe, no mo.
See, these are both better than what the studio came up with. All right. Joe somebody. Revenge is a dish best served Joe.
That's the best one so far.
Thank you.
Best served Joe. All right. Joe somebody. The slap heard around the parking lot.
Yeah. Joe somebody. In the case of Joe Sheffer, you're nobody till somebody slaps you in front of your daughter.
Great Dean Martin song.
I'm going to play into my audience with that one. I had to look up who sang it, but once I saw...
It was rattling around in my head, but I couldn't quite make it work. I'm glad you did.
I'd argue I didn't either, but...
All right. Joe somebody. The girl or the glory?
All right. Joe somebody. Warm up with a cup of Joe this holiday season.
That one had a lisp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm warmed up.
Yeah.
For it being around the holidays, they should have done more Christmas stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh well. We can't have it all. Also, I kind of don't want to do another Christmas film for a while.
That's what I'm saying. I was saying to Sam, my girlfriend, that it was a lot easier coming up with these when it wasn't Christmas or Halloween.
Yeah.
Because we've exercised.
You can just
that.
pull from everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Joe somebody. Joe is gonna get his groove back.
Did you say brute or groove?
Maybe both.
Yeah, a little brute. My dad. All right. This one, you'll get it. It's long, so don't cut me off. All right?
Okay. All right. This is Adam Dietz special right here.
Joe somebody. Side effects for this family comedy may include bouts of sadness, slight confusion, fatigue, constipation, insomnia, dry mouth, skin rashes, and occasional moments of testicle-induced laughter.
Very good. Very
Clever.
good.
I mean,
That's the best one. You
Thank
win.
you. All
Creativity on all levels there.
Can I just say that? No, I'll save it. I'll save it for when we get there.
I will say when they did that in the movie, I laughed quite.
Okay, well then I'll
times.
tell you that
Yeah.
in the theater when I saw this with my sister, that killed.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a good joke. It's joke.
Good. And at the end of the joke, what does it say? Like, making you better than you really are, or something
Yeah.
like that. That's a good tagline too.
Do you have any more? Or...
No, that was it for me. Do you have more?
Here's my last one.
Oh my goodness.
Joe somebody. This Christmas, Tim Allen is trading in his sack of toys for a sack of his own.
A sack of his own.
Ball sack.
Yeah.
He's manning up,
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah. All right. Sure. I'm gonna just exercise that one. That one's out.
That's my favorite because it's dirty.
Well, it is Home Improvement After Dark.
It is, and it's bright. It's 4:00 here.
Yeah, I was gonna say the sun
beating down on me.
Sun's kind of out, but it's all about where you're at mentally. So.
All right, well, let's get into this one. I've said a bunch of times, so I'll just say it again. I saw this with my sister. I thought it was for my birthday. December. I suppose it could have been hanging around the theaters in March, although I kind of doubt it, so I think I'm maybe off on that. But I remember really liking this movie, so I was curious to return to it and see how it aged.
See if it holds up.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever seen it. Mm-hmm. So going in with that, I have no context. Didn't even really know what the movie was about till I started doing the research for
I'd
trivia
say
and whatnot.
you don't hear about this one very much, or like it's largely forgotten. And say whether or not that's justified or not.
You know what's funny? I brought it up to a couple people, said, yeah, we're doing a podcast about Joe Somebody. And they're like, you've never seen Joe Somebody? And I was like,
Huh.
So I was a little confused by that.
Okay. It's like, I don't know, maybe you see the box a lot. It's a pretty good cast, and the people have gone on to do decent work, so.
I also feel like the title is so generic that people could be mistaking the film for another film they've seen.
Yeah. Joe Somebody.
So,
Sure.
You've never seen Joe Somebody? It's starring, I don't know, Bruce Willis, right?
I wish, yeah.
Bruce Willis was offered the role of Patrick
And
Warburton.
then Jim Carrey passed. And then,
Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right, so do you want to walk us through this delight?
All right, so Joe Sheffer. So I'm thinking, and this is a thought I had today, is his last name Sheffer? Are we doing like a Joe Schmo kind of thing? Is there anything to that in my mind?
Yeah, I think they wanted to, but
Okay.
it's not. Maybe they should have done Joe Schmo.
Joe Schmo. I just felt like you get the SCA, it's a thought.
I just thought they would put it. It's also kind of not. When I first thought I read it, I said, "Oh, is this like Scheffler or
Yes.
Schaefer or something like that?"
Yeah,
So I thought I would hear a lot more of like the mispronouncing his last name on purpose.
I think I typed Scheffler most of the time in my notes. So, all right. So I think we start Stark Sign, which is a pharmaceutical company, a pretty corporate environment, and we get a montage of like life. With does it start right with a commercial, and then we kind of cut out?
Watched it like 2 days ago, and
I know.
don't
I
really
just watched
remember.
it yesterday. In any case, it's Tim Allen. He's in a booth or in his
Cubicle.
and
You've been out of the office so long, you don't even
I don't
remember.
have to call. I always called him booths. No, he's very buttoned up in this one. Like they want to make him look kind of schlubby. He's got the round glasses. He's very like milk toast.
Isn't he like walking down the hall or something like that? And he thinks somebody's waving to them, and
an attractive woman waves, and he thinks it's at him, and he kind of waves back. They really want to paint him as like a schlub.
a real nobody.
Yeah, seriously. His job is a videographer, which doesn't really ever play into the plot at all. You kind of you watch it this time. I'm thinking like, is he gonna do something with that?
Catch
But
someone on tape.
Yeah, it's just like kind of a thing. His boss comes in. He's kind of a little mousy fella. And, we're just getting a lot of scenes here of Joe not getting respect. He's told that he needs to get something done faster than
He's not getting the promotion that he was promised.
Not getting the promotion. He's promised a lot of Timberwolves tickets that he's not getting.
They did lean into the Timberwolves, which was fun.
Interesting how often you hear Timberwolves in this movie. It's interesting. But yeah.
You thinking the Timberwolves maybe paid a little bit of cash to get mentioned so much?
I don't know.
This was a viral marketing campaign.
Yeah, I bet it worked. Yeah. No, it's just all this is to say he's like a humdrum guy in a kind of generic corporate environment. So he's he's drinking his coffee or whatever, and he's watching Julie Bowen, who plays a character named Meg Harper, and she's really struggling to hang up this sign. Her job feels like they don't want to call it HR, corporate, what is her
I think
job?
they do talk about HR a little bit,
Okay.
but yeah, at first it's corporate wellness. I think is the right thing because the sign is about being happy and trying to boost company morale. I suppose I'm not sure what they're going for there, but looks fun.
Yeah, it's like Yeah, she's there and she's trying to hang up a sign, but she's really struggling. So, Joe, he's a dork, but he's a nice guy. So he goes over and
sincere.
helps her.
Yeah.
He's sincere. Staples his shirt to the sign as he's talking to her.
Classic.
What a dork. I kind of liked it, though.
That's a classic Tim Allen move, though. Like, that's Tim Taylor would do that as well.
Yeah, but this is like, in this movie, all those kind of gaffes are like, kind of like, God, isn't this guy pathetic? It's not like, isn't this guy an idiot? I feel like it's just like a slight difference. But.
Yeah, I guess the tone is like that, so you kind of feel bad for him. But Meg likes him. Meg remembers him, I think, too, from like a video that he made for the company.
Yeah, I actually really like her in this movie.
Yeah,
I think she's
very
really
likable.
solid, and I think that in the wrong hands, this could have been a role that is pretty forgettable, and you're kind of like, who cares? Why is Joe pining for her so much? But I thought she was really good and charming, and I liked her in Modern Family and stuff. But I think this is her best work, and I'd like to tell her. I thought she was good.
Let's get her on the pod. No, I really, I actually echo that as well.
Yeah.
I was surprised at the amount of chemistry between those two in this film.
It's unlikely, yeah. I'm pretty sure that they are in another movie together later on, so it must have been a solid working experience. And yeah, there is a lot of chemistry, and we don't see that a lot with him in these movies. Like, he has chemistry with PR, obviously, on the show, but, like, I don't know. I'm trying to, like, in the Santa Claus movies, him and that assistant principal, it's nothing, so...
You've always hated her anyway.
I hate her. I don't like. I got no use for assistant principals.
No, I never have, never will.
No.
Yeah, so like right away, she's like the only person who is kind of like nice and sincere and notices him. So he's got that going for him. We find out some more details about him. I don't know if it's right away or
it's right
soon.
now.
Yeah. So we find out that he's divorced. He's kind of sad. So here's another thing: not knowing what's going on in these films. I was thinking like the Santa Claus, and I was thinking some of these things, and this is a little bit older. It's not quite that age level to me. I feel like it's...
Yeah, this movie is like, it's hard because and I watched the trailer before we started recording, and the trailer is like him getting hit in the nuts, and it's playing like Cool Jerk from Home Alone 2, and it started playing up the laughs. There's some laughs to be had, but this is kind of just like a movie about a middle-aged guy who's kind of going through a tough time and,
finds romance, essentially.
Yeah, and like wants to sort of reassert his masculinity a little bit. And it does feel more grown up than the other stuff. I agree with you.
Yeah. I was very surprised by that. So had me thrown off. But so we're learning about that. We learn that he has a daughter. He's, like you said, he's divorced, and his daughter, played by Hayden Panettiere. I'm gonna screw that up every time. And she's kind of got like, trying to describe her look.
Well, it's Remember the Titans, like a year,
that's
plus
true.
A year, a little taller.
She's got like a beanie on.
Yeah.
And it's a strange relationship that the ex-wife plays. I don't know how they ended up together in particular.
Man, that's one of my notes. It's like, in what world did these two people ever get married? Because she's a free spirit kind of hippie artist.
Yeah.
She lives in looks like an airplane hangar kind of, so it is really impossible to imagine. And she's played by Kelly Lynch, who's been in like Roadhouse and other stuff. And I like her too. But yeah, it is like an impossible pairing to imagine these two ever together. But the daughter, Natalie, he's divorced recently. I think Hayden Panettiere was like a pretty good kid actor, and I think a lot of people think that. In this movie, a little too much of a wiseacre for me. The jokes are just coming a little too fast and furious, and a little too adult, maybe, I felt.
Yeah, she definitely... it feels like living with her mom, she's had to grow up too fast or something, because that's the vibe we get, too, is like Tim cares about his daughter, spends time with his daughter. But yeah, the ex-wife is just kind of like, there's no rules. She doesn't care. She's trying to take him to like these really weird artsy things that she's not interested in. Yeah. So it's a different vibe.
Yeah. So, we get like a snapshot of Joe's life. He's with his daughter. He falls asleep. We get the commercial for the drugs. Presumably he's making these commercials, I guess, that's never really articulated, but we would guess so. And it gets the effects and stuff. We meet, obviously we met the daughter, but we go to the ex-wife's apartment, and it's very like, hippie-ish.
Open air, like 2-story
industrial.
loft. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's a real dichotomy between the two. Her, she's got a boyfriend named Rick. They call Actor Boy. He's played by Ken Marino. Ken Marino is kind of a small role. He's gone on to do a lot of stuff that I like. He's a funny guy, but not a lot to do in this one. They are heading pretty shortly thereafter. It's Take Your Daughter to Work Day.
Yeah. Did you ever do any of these?
Yeah, I went to gym with my mom a couple times. Obviously, I didn't want to, like, my dad was, teacher in the school district, so that would have been kind of a bummer. But yeah, I went to gym with my mom. I can remember at least once or twice. What about you?
Yeah, I think I probably went with my dad and did grunt work for him when I was younger.
Hey, don't say those words on this podcast, all right?
Sorry.
How dare you?
Are they even around still? I don't know. I haven't been checking in on them lately.
Not gonna find out.
Okay, well, I do remember going with my mom, who was a registered nurse on a pediatric floor. And that was pretty fun, actually. So she worked third shift, so I got to stay up all night, or at least until I fell asleep. I don't think I stayed up all night.
Right, yeah.
They had one of these carts that had like a Super Nintendo on it or whatever, so they rolled that into the room. Wow. I got to play some video games for a little while, so it wasn't too shabby, if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that with my daughter. I was like, come bring my daughter to work day would not be very fun for her nowadays. So
my mom was a HR manager, so like when I went with her, she was just like hanging signs, wellness signs, and then like this guy came up and like stapled his arm.
Oh yeah, so it really hit close to home.
Life imitating art, imitating life. But they're heading to school. She's interviewing him. This is where she is like. This is a subplot that doesn't really work. She's like a writer. She wants to be a writer.
Her dad's a playwright.
Yeah, that's bizarre too. Like he dreamed of being a writer, and now he's a videographer. This movie acts like being a videographer is like some soulless thing. I would think like if you were a creative, that would be like kind of a cool, good job.
Yeah, corporate takes it out of him though.
I guess faceless corporate, but yeah, he dreamed of being a playwright, which comes to nothing.
Then he grew up, but,
Yeah.
But then he tries to instill that his daughter should keep working at it. So yeah, she's doing an interview or something. I don't know.
I don't know. Her writing stuff is funny. It's just like
I can't wait to talk about what happens at the end of this movie. So
that's like that's a real twist, especially when you see who's up on that stage.
I was constantly surprised. We'll get there. So yeah, we're pulling into the parking lot at work, and he's a seasoned veteran at this company. He's been there for 10 years, so there's a special parking lot for people who've been there for a decade or more. And he's getting ready to pull into the last parking spot. Lo and behold, Patrick Warburton pulls in with his giant Yukon, takes the last spot, and he doesn't belong here. He's only been here for 7 years. He's got a different lot. He's supposed to park on the west lot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Mark McKinney.
Mark McKinney. Yeah, they call him McKinney. You know it's bad when they call you by your last name.
Yeah, this is, it's also, Mark McKinney is like an old SNL guy. It's kind of an interesting name to have chosen. But, yeah, so Tim gets out, Joe gets out, and he says, he tries to reason with him and stuff, but very, very quickly it escalates. And McKinney says, hey, you don't want me to, beat the shit out of you in front of your daughter. Which is, like, really what he says. He gets slapped immediately, like, backhand slapped. And then,
backhand slapped twice. It's
and then, it comes back and he gets slapped again. I mean, I remembered this scene as a child, but this is really like a tough scene to watch. You don't get a lot of, it's super emasculating. His daughter's there. She's like worried. People are in the parking lot.
This is when I knew, like, hey, this is not man of the house.
It's different. Yeah, it definitely hits differently. And like Warburton is like, he's played funny a lot, but he's a big, kind of a scary guy. Like,
and he doesn't play funny at all. Like, there's no inkling of that in this movie.
No, it's like legitimately threatening. So yeah, he slaps him twice, and then Joe gets back in his Lumina or whatever and drives away.
He's bloody. It's rough. His daughter saw everything. They get in the car. They're driving to the west lot, and he says, "I'm just going to take you to school." It's very sad.
Yeah,
very,
it's
very
really
sad.
something to see. I was racking my brain to think, like, what is there? Have I seen anything like this before? And in a comedy, I certainly haven't. It's really hitting on something very specific, and I think it works. I think it's a really effective scene. The comedy maybe kind of undercuts it later, but like in the moment, it's like, whoa.
Yeah,
obviously, like you know, how they handle it and stuff in this movie with McKinney. Like, this guy would be fired, potentially, like, arrested, you know, like,
That's
it
what
would
I
be...
was gonna say. I was like,
Yeah.
hits differently 20 years later. He's not just getting suspended, which
Yeah,
is
like
what
2
he
weeks
gets.
suspension. But
Yeah.
from there, you know, like, it really takes a lot out of Joe, as it would anyone. You know, we cut to him at home. He's drinking beer. He hasn't talked to his daughter in 2 days.
He's not showing up to work.
Yeah, he's not showing up to work. Like, maybe we're thinking he's even, like, suicidal. It's kind of hard. They don't say that, but it looks pretty bleak. There's a scene where, like, he's talking to her on the phone, and, like, the last thing he says to her is, like, I don't know, I just kind of feel like disappearing. And I'm thinking, like, that's a pretty bad thing to say to your 10-year-old daughter, Joe.
It's not great. And then we cut to Meg and her boss, who's a real tool.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
That guy's bad. Like, he's never played a likable guy. I think of him in, like, Talladega Nights or whatever. But, man, he's a bad dude.
Yeah, he's not great in this movie at all. So, yeah, she's kind of, like, tasked to go get him and bring him to work. You know, the boss is worried about getting sued. They already have pressure on them for some reason or another. I don't know why
Unclear.
exactly. Yeah,
Unclear.
it's just kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And so Meg she tries to call as well, and then she has to go, and like actually go get him. So she shows up at his house.
Yeah, I'm not... Their perspective on this, like, I guess... you know, Jordan, I'm not a lawyer. Could he sue the employer? I suppose he could definitely sue the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But her, like, coming to his house to, like, get him back to work is strange.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're thinking it's going to get worse and worse. I don't know. But, yeah, and it's unclear. He's just kind of, like, not showing up or anything, so they don't want it to spiral. Kind of got to nip it in the bud here. So she does show up. She comes inside. She sees he's in quite a state, and I guess this is the scene where she, you know, she's getting frustrated with him because he's not playing ball. And she says, well, what do you want, Joe? Mm-hmm. And light bulb, what do I want? And things really start stirring in his heart, I guess. He decides he wants a rematch with McKinney. You know, he does actually mention here that, like, feels like he lost his manhood and things like that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he's got a new goal in mind, and it's going to really drive him for the rest of the film.
Yeah, this is when the movie becomes a comedy, I guess I would say.
I guess so.
Because it's like, you know, he's looking rough. He's maybe, like, had, like, a nervous breakdown. And, yeah, she's getting frustrated, and he says, he took something from me. Mm. And he has sort of a panic attack and stuff. I appreciated they... You know, like, obviously his house looks, like, kind of dumpy at this point, but they gave him, like, a pretty realistic house, you know? Like, I like it in movies when people have, like, houses they'd actually have.
Pretty normal-looking bungalow type of thing.
Yeah, like, so I appreciated that. But, yeah, he wants to fight McKinney. Real-life fight between Tim Allen and...
Patrick Warburton.
I think we all know how that goes.
Well, that's why he's taking karate later on.
It's really something. Are you a Warburton guy? I mean, everybody likes Seinfeld.
Him. Yeah, no, I don't know that I've ever really seen him in something I didn't like.
Yeah,
so
he's solid.
Yeah. So Joe goes to the office. He's back in the office. Mm-hmm. He issues first he, like, drives over to McKinney's house, I should say, and he's like, "Me and you, 2 weeks."
It's funny.
McKinney's like, "Hey, do you have a gun?"
Yeah, that's a really funny line. He's like, and he does that in that delivery that only he can do. Like, he's the only, like, you don't have a gun or anything, do you?
Yeah.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
No, and so he goes from there and he gets back at the office, and all of a sudden he's a real celebrity. News has traveled quite fast that he's gonna confront this bully, and everyone apparently in the office has wanted to do this for years. So I
love this stuff. I think
you like when they rally, huh?
I think this is so funny. Like, all of this stuff. I really like the his name's Cade, the guy he plays squash with.
Yeah,
that guy cracks me up. He's like, Joe Scheffler, and he's just, like, fake shadow boxing with him and stuff. Yeah. It's just, like, so good. Like, it's such a good depiction of, like,
See at Club 13.
Office bro stuff. But yeah, he does. He's an immediate celebrity. This woman who completely disappears from the movie. I'm trying to think of a nice word for her. Let's say she's a seductress. She immediately comes up and, like, kisses him on the temptress. She kisses him on the cheek and is like, Joe Scheffer, my hero. And, you know, she's an older, attractive woman, but she is just, like, available. she's horny, and she's here for it.
She's definitely here for it, especially, I mean, like, after the squash match, like, they lock eyes.
I love it. It's so stupid. All the stuff with Kate and Joe, you like squash with a little bit of butter. I just think this is so...
I did laugh. I laughed out loud when he said that line. It's so stupid. It's
so funny. I don't know why this... I liked it when I was young, and then, like, being in an office a little bit. Not lately, obviously, but just, like, I don't know. This, like, stupid office bravado really cracks me up. And I think that this guy, Cade, really kills it.
I like it especially early on because Joe really hasn't changed who he is, so he's still kind of being an idiot.
Yeah.
But it's working on every level.
He's like kind of stuttering over everything. He's like, Club 13, oh. Just like very nervous. We did skip a thing, and not that this matters, but like there's a scene before that with the daughter where this principal pulls her elementary school records.
Oh, baby.
She's like, you had straight A's in elementary school. I'm thinking like, doesn't everybody have
straight... Should they even give A's? I thought it was S's for satisfactory or whatever.
This would hit a lot harder if this girl was a senior in high school, not a 6th grader. But she's like, you're on the wrong path. You had straight A's in 3rd grade. Why are you...
She's never read quite a writer like her, ever.
Yeah, that's very funny. So yeah, they do plant the writing seed a little bit. I just thought straight A's in elementary school, it's like, whoa, somebody should have thought that one through a little bit. She
also took advanced courses. You remember that?
What do those look like? What's an advanced... I mean, I guess our school district did have, like...
I don't remember in elementary school. Maybe I wasn't smart enough.
No,
that would explain how we got into this podcast.
They were there. I remember this one girl from Seiple got transferred to Central so she could go to those classes.
Yeah, Seiple was not where all the brainiacs were, huh?
All right, okay. All right. Country bumpkins, I get it.
Oh man. There's also I think there's a scene where Natalie doesn't really approve of this new plan.
Yeah, who cares? You know, like it is funny in this movie. He bails on his daughter like once this fight is introduced, like
it's the only thing that matters.
He's like, I can't see you for a while. You're just gonna have to deal with it.
Stay with Mom. I've got to train.
I love you, but I have to train.
Yeah.
So he was punching a sort of an expensive looking robot boxing thing earlier, but it wasn't working. So
he's got to go somewhere that's gonna really make him improve his skills, and so he ends up at this. Does it say karate in the sign? I don't remember.
Something like that.
But he knocks on the door, and Mr. Belushi shows up.
Got it. Okay, was Belushi just hanging around Minneapolis? Because he's also in Jingle All the Way, so he's just there. I gotta say, I think Belushi is great in this.
I was gonna say he's the MVP of this movie.
He does something that I've never seen him do before, where he's like understated. He's just like kind of quiet, and it's so much better than when he's an idiot all the time. And like according to Jim and stuff, he's so good in this movie. I think everything he says is funny or like cool or poignant. I was really happy. I remembered liking him. I was really happy with how the performance aged for me.
Yeah, it was very, very good. I was very impressed with pretty much everything he does. So he plays Chuck Scarrett, an ex B movie star, martial
sort of like
artist.
A Steven Seagal kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely. And so I don't know what his fall from grace was essentially, but yeah, he's no longer
too big for his britches. Maybe there's a lot of his posters are around the dojo, and
so you think a little pride, and
no prejudice though.
No. But it came before the fall, and so he has now fallen, and so maybe that's where his wisdom comes from.
I think so. Yeah. One of the posters Joe points to, and Belushi says it was Tom Sawyer, loose adaptation. Oh, that got me. That got me.
Well, it was like Tom Sawyer Must Die or something like that.
It really got me. But yeah, I mean, Belushi is kind of like an alcoholic probably in this movie. They don't really want to talk about it, but
he does drink a little bit. Yeah,
he does some drinking. But Joe walks in and they have kind of a bad interaction, or like he tells Joe to swing at him. Belushi does, and then Belushi swings back and I think hits him. So he gets a free lesson, and this is kind of where their relationship begins.
And boy, and it's quite the relationship. I imagine after this film, we'll get to how their relationship unfolds, but they're probably BFFs for the rest of their lives.
Seems close. I mean, talk about having good chemistry. It was the same for these two, and Yeah, I mean, I just really thought Belushi was
Very good
solid
in
in
this
this.
film.
Yeah, I really
Very,
liked
very
it.
good.
And I'm glad to hear that you liked it too.
I really enjoyed it. So we're starting on this path where he's important at work. He's starting to get to know the right people. He's starting to get like promotions. He's getting self-confidence. He's learning, and he's not quite getting the karate stuff quite yet, but he's gonna get there.
He's going up to
And
Club 13.
he's going to Club 13, baby. Is this squash time?
It's squash time. Yeah. You ever play squash, Jordan?
Never played it. I was very confused at what the rules might be based on what I was watching. But the racquetball club, they had some squash stuff going on there.
Sure.
So
yeah,
I've seen it.
I played more racquetball than squash, but yeah, squash is really hard, and
It's apparently a work thing. Why would
I think
that be?
it was. I don't know. I feel like it was like. I think that's like the vestiges of maybe like 80s work culture kind of carrying over, like somebody writing this years before, because I feel like you get that in like older movies, like guys going to the athletic club and working up a sweat or whatever. But yeah, he's all loaded up with gear.
He's got knee pads. He's got everything.
He kind of, he doesn't ever tell them he's bad at playing. He sort of just acts like he is. You got Cade and some other guys. But the joke is
Peters,
like
right?
The Peters.
Two
Oh,
Peters. What
four
do you mean?
Peters.
Four.
Yeah.
So
I don't know
dumb.
about I don't know
That
about
one
that
was maybe the worst joke of the movie.
That's when you know that they're just they just like him regardless of what he says, because
Also, didn't bring this up earlier. His daughter's got kind of a mouth on her. She's a bit mouthy.
That's the problem. That's what I'm saying. She's a little too I don't know. The jokes are too highfalutin. She's a little too raunchy.
Yeah, I can see it. All right, four Peters.
4 Peters, one Tim, 1 Cade.
Cade doesn't really give Joe a hard time for being terrible at squash, which is
Everybody's really understanding of Joe because he's got this big fight coming, but they're moving around him really. Like the joke is like he's standing in place and they're like fast forwarded, kind of moving around him. He does seem to kind of get the hang of it after a while, although one of his shots breaks the trophy case. And then he gets hit.
What's the joke he makes about that? He's like, let's keep playing before they bill us or something like that.
Yeah, then everybody just like goes crazy. It's like my dream come true. Somebody laughing at everything we say.
You really modeled yourself after Joe after this movie.
I saw this movie when I was 12, and I was like, how can I get like this? He gets hit in the crotch, and then there's like he like hits himself with the racket, and it makes like a weird iron sound.
Yeah,
he's kind of out of a different movie. I felt like
I guess he's
got
got a metal cup on or something like that.
Yeah, but they're loving everything he's doing. They're like, Sheffer, he got jokes.
He's batting 1,000 right now.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, he's he's just killing it. They kid doing it wrong.
And then he hits a walk-off, I don't know, squash home run.
Yeah, he's like diving and he hits a shot and wins the game. Everybody loses their mind, and of course the horny temptress.
Well, yeah. I mean, at first they're just playing, but all of a sudden everyone's gathered around, and this is a big event. So
yeah, she's
also
there.
your dream.
Yeah, kind of
to perform in front of a crowd like that. Yeah.
I mean, if I could have a crowd like that watching me play squash, no, that'd be something.
You can dream.
I know. She like puts her hand on the glass and he touches hers.
That was the weirdest thing.
It's so weird. That whole thing is like, it makes me wonder if they cut a scene where like they kiss or something, because
and Meg sees it.
Yeah, or something, because they're really setting up something bigger. Because she's really into him, and she's kind of like every time he turns around, she's there. But then it's a complete like radio silence the last half hour of the movie. It's kind of bizarre. Mm-hmm. I guess what probably happened. Well, we'll wait till the Timberwolves game scene, but I bet there's a cut thing there. That would make sense.
Yeah, on the TV and stuff.
Yeah, I bet there's something with that. So, yeah, things are going really well for Joe.
Not so much for Meg.
Yeah, not so much for Meg. We kind of get a little bit of a back and forth. But I think after the squash game, he's training, and he's getting hit in the nuts a lot. We're getting a lot of ball trauma in this film. People are always sitting on ice packs. Belushi has a really great look where he's wearing like a thermal long sleeve under a Hawaiian shirt. Maybe giving me some ideas for next winter.
I was gonna say you've got some seeds planted in your head. Yeah, I mean things are progressing well for him, and this is when he gets he starts to get like his promotion, so he gets like this big snazzy office from the, I don't know, what do you want to call him, squarmy HR guy. He's like giving him all these new video equipment and all this kind of stuff. And Meg is like trying to be like, hey, this is not right. And yeah, I think his name's Jeremy or something like that.
Jeremy. Yeah, we get Joe's just like, he's very much a part of everything. So there's a party, I believe, for this temptress where they do karaoke. And I believe it's like her birthday party.
Her birthday, yeah.
And they're all singing Backstreet Boys and getting really into it. It's kind of synchronized.
Tim's voice is, I think, in there.
I think so, yeah.
I think this is like actually their voices.
Yeah, Meg's there and she's watching, and like everybody's really into I can't stress this enough how much everybody likes everything he does. They get to the end of the song and he takes a glass of water and he throws it in his hair and slicks his hair back. Now that was kind of hard for me to watch. That was a little embarrassing.
That was a little like Spider-Man 3.
That was a little embarrassing. But Meg sees that and she's like,
I'm out.
I gotta go. So he follows her outside and asks her out, and first she says no, but then they agree to Monday.
Yeah.
But man, Joe's up there. He's
on cloud 9 right now.
He really, really is. And that girl whose birthday it is, she's just eating it up. She's just clapping.
This might be the last time we see her, though.
Nah, Timberwolves game, man.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of like the next thing that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, there's you get a lot of like cuts to training and stuff. There's a really unnecessary dream sequence with McKinney and
at the Target.
It's super stupid. I don't know why it's in this movie. It's like they are racing their carts to the checkout, and then you think it's maybe real, but then at the end they're all of the people interacting with Joe are turning into McKinney.
Maybe it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, everything seems to be going right, but actually there's some lingering doubts here. Yeah,
it's an interesting. There's a big moving forward in the plot. Earlier there was a lot of nut stuff, and then there's a lot of focus played on him doing his hair.
Yes.
There's maybe like 5 or 6 different scenes where he's like combing his hair. People are talking about his hair.
Do you like the new style? Do you not like the new style?
The new style is the old style. I'd say turned about 10 degrees. Not much of a difference, but everybody acts like you got a
there's more
freaking
product
mohawk.
in it.
A little more product, sure.
Yeah.
He talks there's a scene where he talks to Julie Bowen on the phone and she's in her underwear. It was just struck me as being like kind of gratuitous and strange in this movie. Like she just like there was no reason for her to be there. She's just like standing in her underwear.
Guess I don't remember that one.
Well,
that was when she said she's gonna be late or whatever.
Yes, yeah, they were like talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I had looked away to see what was going on and I missed it or something.
Hey Jordan, you're lost. You're lost.
I know. I rented it. Maybe I've got like 10 hours left on the rental.
Well, I sent you the time code. You're like.
I sent you a thumbs up. So
one thing that we haven't established is like there is like a thread where Meg is like getting mercilessly hit on by
Jeremy.
Jeremy, that guy. So there's it.
Yeah, he's a real tool, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
So we end up at the Timberwolves game, and I don't even know what to say about this. Jesse Ventura shows up, the governor at the time.
Yeah, it's funny. He like has just gotten the promotion, I think. Yeah. So it's like, hey, here's your new job, and this is all a plan to. I was a little confused by this. They gave him the promotion. Why?
They're trying to pacify him so they still don't get sued.
Okay, so he's got a big new office. He's got Timberwolves tickets. He's got
everything he thinks he wants.
Spot, everything he thinks he wants. And but it's kind of interesting. They give him Timberwolves tickets, and he gets a Club 13 key or whatever. I gotta get to this Club 13, by the way.
It looks pretty fun.
It's like the Davison Athletic Club, but like
on steroids.
Better. On steroids.
Yeah, buddy. So he's sitting courtside. Yeah,
did they only give him one ticket?
I think it's like the company gives away like a row of like 3 or 4 people. So of course, who's there?
Her.
But her. Well, we probably should look up her name.
Her name is Abby.
Abby's
Manheim.
there.
And I looked her up, Jordan. I have bad news. This is the last thing she was ever in.
Aww. Huh. All right.
I mean, I don't know that she talks that much, so can't tell you if she's good or bad, but you think she was in this and she was like, I'm never going to top what I just did?
Yeah, might as well just like, it's a walk-off home run type of thing.
Yeah, but it is fun. It's like, I feel like the company is, in a different movie, it would be like they're paying her to like honey up to him or something. It's like, it almost has that feel because she's like literally always there. Everywhere he goes, she's there. Maybe she's into him. I guess that's
Either
what they
that or
want you to
she's
think.
stalking him, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's having the time of his life. He's at this game. We see the governor come in, and at one point, it's funny because they're cutting between this and Natalie and her mom at their place are kind of like watching on TV.
Yeah.
And there was a thread earlier where like he wants to go to the game with his daughter. He doesn't here, right? He just goes by himself or whatever. And so you see like Shaq on the screen for a second, but then you actually go in person, and these are not NBA players at all. So
yeah, it's
that was
funny.
a little weird.
It was weird. Yeah, the TV is showing a different thing than real life.
Than what you see. And the loose ball, they run into Joe, and he's got the ball, and Jesse Ventura comes up. And
you took quite a hit there. You slackjaw so-and-so.
he gets. I mean, it's all coming up roses right now.
Even when he gets like hit, people are like, "Joe,
you're amazing."
The way you got hit, that was pretty sweet.
You held on to that ball.
It's like in Space Jam when Michael Jordan just keeps striking out in baseball, and they're like, "Michael, when you strike out, Michael, it looks good. When I strike out, man, it looks nasty." It's sort of like that. Joe, are we supposed to think? Okay, so like. I know that you said they gave him the promotion to like pacify him.
Yeah.
So are we as the audience supposed to think that this promotion is bad? Because we've already established that he deserves the promotion. Mm-hmm. So like, I don't know.
It's the reasons for the promotion. And then it's kind of implies that at some point they're just going to fire him or something, and he'll like lose all
that's what I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know exactly why that would happen, if there would be like downsizing or something. It's not quite clear, but yeah, it seems like a false promotion.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what, Jordan? I have to use the restroom real quick, so I'm going to think about that as I do.
Okay.
So
maybe when you come back, we'll have something to say.
Give me like a minute to think about it.
You got it.
Sorry about that.
So what did you find out in your brain?
It's funny. I didn't think about it at all.
Perfect.
I'm not able to multitask,
Yeah. You got to focus on what's important. So
I was thinking about something, though. Like... This movie kind of depicts corporate life as being soulless and whatever. I don't know. I guess neither one of us has got much of a taste of that, right? I mean,
I had it for been home, 3 years or so.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, 4 if you count when I moved down here too. So.
Okay.
It wasn't soulless. I don't know. It was second place more than the first place. Second place, I wasn't very connected. First place, I was. So, yeah. Yeah.
I think the biggest place I've worked for was a company that operated out of like a WeWork, so I don't know that I really got the communal kind of corporate environment, but I do wonder if it's there was an era, and this was the era, like 90s, 2000s, maybe even early 2010s, where it was like working for a big corporation is hell and everybody's miserable. This movie's kind of trying to play on that, and I wonder if I guess everybody's at home now, so it doesn't really matter. Like all jobs kind of feel the same regardless of what company you work for. But I don't know. I was thinking about that, if that's still a thing people think or feel or whatever. But
probably depends on where you're at.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So we get to finally, it's like date night with Meg. And he shows up at the gym where she's supposed to be at.
It's a big basketball movie, Jordan.
I was pleasantly surprised. I love basketball, so it's always good to see it. So we find out that Meg Harper is there playing with 3 younger girls, probably teenagers. Kind of, just they're
big brothers, big sisters kind of thing, maybe?
Big brothers, big sisters, I think is what she says. And... yeah, she's having fun with them. She makes like the game-winning shot, and then she does this dance that apparently is mesmerizing for Joe.
It didn't mesmerize you?
It was confusing.
It goes on a long time.
It goes on a long time, and I did like that the one girl was like, "Yeah, white people can't dance" or something like that. And
then Joe was like, "Wanna bet?" He's like, "Bet me," and then he goes on dancing.
Does his like karate fast hands move, and that brought the house down.
Get a lot of that.
Yeah. So they're bonding after this. They kind of go on a little date, and they end up at a bar. We find out that Meg grew up around here, and it's maybe not the nicest area in the world.
We don't really know where here is, though. You know, it doesn't quite hit that hard.
Somewhere in Minnesota. So they end up at the bar that she spent a lot of time in growing up. And, you know, they're connecting. They're playing games together. They're talking about songs in the jukebox. And Joe is definitely flirting with her. And they start to dance. And then he's like, oh, you know, it's a little too... His wound is too fresh. He says there's a hole in his heart or something like that.
My wife left a hole in me or something.
Yeah, so it's rough. And she's understanding in the moment. They go back home. And do they kiss here?
No, she says that you shouldn't flirt until you're ready, and he agrees.
Yes.
There's some kind of... I looked up the writer because I feel like there's some... it's going to sound like kind of silly when I say this, but I feel like there's some kind of beautiful writing in this movie. Like, I really think that there is. I think there's some really nice like turns of phrase and like kind of poignant, you know, like, he took something from me, there's a hole in my heart, you know, like even the scene where he's got her guessing things on the jukebox. I don't know. I feel
it was it was a really juxtaposition because like we're talking about like this weird. You were talking about this like corporate culture, and then we had these really like sentimental and somber moments between the fights and between this like romantic relationship. So it was weird tonally for me.
And then he's hitting squash racket on his nuts and it's making a fake noise. So tonally, this movie is scattered, but I think some of the writing is really good. It's elevated from what you usually get in a movie like this. One thing to note, like when they meet up at the bar or whatever, and he has his date, is he left the Timberwolves game at halftime to meet up with her, and he left Abby there. And this is where I think there was maybe a cut scene or something. Like maybe there's a conversation where he's like, "Hey, actually like Meg, not you," or something, because that's the last we see her.
She's gone. Yeah,
and she's in
gone.
like 5 scenes before that. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we're getting closer and closer to the fight, and I guess I don't remember exactly how this plays out, but there is an ultimatum scene where Meg says like, you know, it's either me or either your fight, and the relationship's going to be over if that doesn't happen. We see Meg like leave the office, like her office, like it's gone. She just kind of bounces because he's basically says he's got to fight.
And at the same time, Jeremy, who's her coworker, he makes a move on her. She rebuffs him, and then he starts to get mean and kind of blackmails her.
And she's also planting seeds that she wanted to be like a counselor and stuff like that. And this is not, you know,
it's true. Yeah, Jeremy, he's kind of got his own thing going on too. He realizes that like. I don't know why he realizes this so late in the game. He's like, hey, if this fight happens on work property, we're like still as screwed as we were before. So he suggests a schoolyard venue.
Schoolyard fight,
for whatever reason.
It's nice.
But yeah, this is like intercut with a lot of the fight training and Joe kind of being Joe. He's
getting better at fighting.
He sexually harasses the woman from the beginning of the movie, Linda. He walks up to her and he's like, is it hot in here or is it just your outfit, Linda? And I'm thinking, Joe, whoa.
Come on, man. Take
it easy. Take it easy.
This is what happens when he gets infected by everyone else. You know,
this is what happens when he stands in front of the mirror and does his hair for 7 different scenes in this movie.
It's not the Joe that I know.
Hashtag not my Joe.
Not my Joe. Yep.
He gets a Cadillac too.
It's a lot of that. He's like showing Meg his Cadillac and stuff like that. So
yeah.
It's all building up to fight day. And we're kind of there. And it's like, will he fight? Meg is gone, like we said. He ends up at the place. It's kind of interesting. So like, there's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. Everyone's like making bets and stuff. And then we see we see someone who I did not expect to see from Home Improvement. We see Benny, Benny Baroni, played by Joe Labriola. Is that his name?
Jim Labriola.
Jim Labriola.
Yeah. This was not dissimilar from Al's wedding at the end of Home Improvement.
Oh, yeah.
Where Benny is also taking bets.
Yeah, so they just brought him in for this.
Yeah.
Which was really funny to me. So everyone's there trying to take bets, and they're all ready for the fight. Patrick Warburton's already made it there. McKinney's there. And
can I get a few dots before we get there?
Sure.
All right. So, a couple things that we haven't touched on because the movie is about to end. There's a thread where his ex-wife starts to see his improvements and becomes. I would say she's attracted to Joe again. Maybe Joe's got his groove back. She notices he's been working out. She sees him at the dojo. She sees him at the Timberwolves game. Like, she's all of a sudden impressed by him. And there's a scene, perhaps the most absurd mother-daughter scene, where mom sneaks out in the middle of the night and daughter is holding the keys and like prevents her from going to see Joe. That was kind of silly.
But we also do find out it's also like a surprisingly emotional scene as well, because she has just broken up with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And she's feeling like very alone and abandoned right now. And so she wants to go over and I forget the daughter's name again. My goodness.
Natalie.
Nat says like she says I feel alone. She's like you're not alone. I'm here. And then they like hug or whatever. So it's interesting.
It's nice, I guess. It's just a little silly because
it wasn't as beautiful as the other writing. Is that what you're saying?
It was not beautiful. Also, there at the end of that scene, Kelly's whatever the ex-wife's name, she says, I'm your mother. Like, I'm supposed to be taking care of you. And then Natalie says, oh, you're a mother, all right. It's like, geez, how old? She just got straight A's in grade school. Now she's saying stuff like this.
You know what? Middle school just corrupts you.
That's what my dad always said.
Yeah, that's why he was there.
Like you said, Meg quit. She got a job as a guidance counselor. Like that, snap your fingers. It's
they need him.
They do need in Minnesota. Yeah. They need them. There's a notorious shortage. There's like a scene. We haven't talked about this because the scenes are a little bit redundant. But like, Joe and Chuck are training a lot, and there's eventually a scene where like they both like Joe kind of gets Chuck and kind of slaps him in the face, which is what Chuck does in the beginning to kind of signify like, hey, I could have got you.
Student has become the master.
Exactly right. Tim's looking pretty buff too.
Yeah, well, they had him like in the start of the movie in all of these like really oversized shirts and stuff, so it doesn't look good on him, and he's starting to get a little bit more trim. I mean, we definitely skipped over the scene where he gets a suit and he's like talking to a mannequin and fighting the mannequin.
This movie is hard, maybe a little harder to talk about than some because there are a lot of really short scenes, and not all of them are of a lot of consequence. Like, there's a scene with that, and there's a lot of, as I've mentioned, there are like, I'm not kidding you, 6-7 scenes of him doing his hair and talking to himself. One of them he burns himself in the back of the head, and there's CGI smoke. So we're not hitting on it. It might seem like we're hitting everything, we're not. But we get to fight day, and one thing I really like, and this is getting back to the cool Belushi, I think Jeremy or somebody asks what time it is. It's fight day, or Putty asks what time it is, and Scarrett says 9:50.
Oh my gosh, I laughed. He's hanging out. I laughed so hard because like there's no sign of him anywhere, and then he's just leaning against a fence with a newspaper,
Hawaiian shirt, newspaper. 9:50. He's there. He's got his man's back.
He's there.
Yeah. So go ahead. Yeah. Sorry. We're
so we're here. We're at this pivotal moment. Is he gonna fight? And we see kind of like the first moment of McKinney kind of not wanting any of this right now. There's like a moment where his hands are kind of shaky and he looks uncertain, and Tim notices and he's getting ready to fight, and McKinney says like, are we going to do this? And he says, no, we're not. And you can see just the tension go out of McKinney on all of his body. He did not want to do this, and everyone is bummed, of course. And Tim starts walking away, and Jeremy comes over and is like, "You have to do this," or something like that. And he turns around and he uses his training and basically hits him in the throat, and is like, "Oh, my bad." I guess he's not worried about this guy suing him. I don't know. It's kind of unclear.
Well, that guy has done so many. I guess he's done so many bad things at this point that like it'd sort of be like, oh, you're going to sue me for that. Well, here's 7 things that you could be sued for.
And just as he leaves, McKinney's like, "Hey, I'm sorry," and that's all we needed to see. Natalie showed up to the fight as well on her bike, and gives her dad the thumbs up, and she's going back to school to apparently turn around her academic career. Be
a playwright. We get a scene where Joe and Belushi are up, is kind of parking his car, and I think Joe asks him, "Do you think I could have won?" And he said, You just did. No, that's good stuff, Jordan. I don't care who you are. That's good stuff.
It is good stuff. And so Joe, he's got one more thing to accomplish in this movie. So he heads to see Meg, and she's upset. And he's like, I didn't fight him. And she convinces him. We finally get the kiss of these two. We've waited all movie.
Yeah.
And here we are. And it's a beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Hopefully a little bit more. I think
probably more.
They're both counting on. Yeah.
Probably a little bit more, but it worked with Casablanca there.
But fear not the end of the movie.
No, an interesting ending here.
Who's this for? I don't know.
Silly. I mean, you gotta tie up Natalie's story.
I guess. Go ahead.
So great. I get to say. So we cut to a play. And really, everything's come together at this point. We see, like, it's another basketball play. There's a lone kid on the stage, and he, like, misses a big shot. And then I guess his coach, I don't know if it's his coach. His coach comes out and, like, encourages him. And the coach is none other but Chuck at this point. And he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt, I think.
No,
he's wearing a jacket. So. No,
okay. Yeah, I wish. I
thought he was dressed up for the
Miller Lite.
He's dressed up for the Maui Invitational, like they do in college every year. But no, he shows up. I laughed quite hard at that, just not expecting him to be there. He gives some advice, and the kid hits the shot. It's nothing but net. Wins the game for his team. Everyone is clapping. It's the end of the show. We see Meg there. We see Joe there. We see Joe's ex-wife. Everyone's happy. Natalie's in the crowd. Everyone's kind of like, bowing and getting their standing ovation. And they're like, go up there. Because she wrote it. She wrote this thing, which was called Brick, by the way. It was a great
I didn't get the name. I was interested to, and the ex-boyfriend, actor boy, Ken Marino, he plays a cow. So everybody, they're really throwing parts. Is this a school production where they're just openly casting adults? I guess so. Yeah, he takes off his like mascot headgear, and it's him. I laughed about that too. It was just it's a little absurd. She goes up on stage and bows. I gotta say, 6th grade they do a little differently out in Minnesota than where we're from.
I should say, you would think Midwestern, it's about the same. No, it was quite different.
They really treat their 6th grade playwrights like they're royalty.
Well, when it's the best writing you've ever seen, as that principal says.
Well, that girl got straight A's in elementary school. You don't just let a girl like that wilt away.
No way. You got to give her everything.
You got to water that flower.
Yeah.
And Jordan, roll credits fade to black. Joe somebody.
Wow.
I'll let you go first. Jordan, highs and lows. What'd you make of this one?
What did I make of this one? I'm going to call this uneven. It had some really high highs and some really low lows.
Okay.
So I think we've talked about a lot of the high highs, right? Like, I love Jim Belushi in this film. He's he does everything perfectly.
I can't imagine anybody doing that better.
No,
I'm serious.
It's really good, really, really good. There are some, like as you said, really poignant scenes with Meg and Joe later on in the movie where they're kind of like really making a connection, and it's really sweet and sentimental. And early in the film when Joe gets punched by McKinney, it's like you feel it, and it's really impactful. So those are done really, really, really well. Some really confusing moments and a lot of like shtick that doesn't really fit the rest of the tone of the movie. So it's like, what are we going for? Yeah. So I did like some of the bro culture stuff that you were talking about with Cade and like the squash stuff. It was just kind of funny.
Yeah.
But I don't love like you said, all of the hair stuff that they were doing.
Well, I mean, there's just occasional moments where it's like, this is a different movie. The CGI, like the smoke on his hair where he hits the all the nut shot stuff is just
it's a bit confusing.
It felt like they were trying to dumb it down for the audience, and I don't know if they really needed to.
Some good laughs to be had too. We talked about the pharmaceutical commercial early on, which was pretty good, and other like really dumb jokes that are kind of like one-liners that caught you by surprise. So I liked it better than I thought I would. Certainly some things that pull it down, and I understand why it has a 5.5, but I think I would give it a higher rating for sure.
Yeah. All right. So
what are your thoughts?
I would say this is like solid mid-tier Tim Allen. You know, like it's not as high. It's not going to reach the heights of like a Santa Claus or a Toy Story or probably even a Galaxy Quest, but I would put it kind of below. It's certainly better me than...
It's better than Big Trouble, huh?
Oh, I think it's better than most of the movies of his we've covered, with the exception of, just like Santa Claus and probably Galaxy Quest. But this would be right beneath those for me. I think it's a really good mid-tier. We didn't talk a lot about his performance, but I think he's pretty good, Tim.
Yeah.
I think he's playing it kind of down the middle. He's not trying to do too much. It's not like it's not my favorite mode of Tim Allen, but I think he's solid in this. Obviously, Belushi, some of the best acting I've ever seen in my life.
Beautiful writing and some of the best acting you've ever seen.
I really
right?
like Belushi. I think Bowen is really good, and like you said earlier, the Tim Allen, Julie Bowen chemistry was surprising and pretty good. But I think she takes a kind of maybe what could be a forgettable role and makes it something kind of memorable. She's very charming. The bad guys are really bad in this, which I kind of like. Like McKinney, he's a bad guy, and they don't really try to redeem him. He says sorry at the end, but he's a jerk. And the guy at work, Jeremy, he's a jerk. These are bad guys.
He's the real villain, actually.
He is. But, as we've been saying, like, the poignant moments really hit. The scene where Joe gets slapped and has to take his daughter home is really kind of tough to watch. And there's some really good writing, some nice lines. But, yeah, it's a movie that maybe can't decide what it is. Is it a family comedy? Is it sort of a quiet... I don't even know how else you would describe it. It's like... It's playing slapstick more than it should, when it's just like kind of a down the middle, understated comedy, but sometimes it goes too big. But when it works, it really works, and when it doesn't, it's just it leaves you sort of shaking your head. But I think it's a good movie for moms. I could see a lot of moms really liking this. And mostly I felt like it held up. I was not disappointed by this.
I would watch this again.
Yeah, I think it delivers. I think it's, as far as like Tim Allen movie goes, I like it. I have like a Roger Ebert review and stuff. I think maybe people are a little harder on this than they should be.
They had high expectations.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Maybe we don't really get movies like this anymore necessarily, where it's like sort of adult, but there's a little bit. I also like worth saying, I think this movie is legitimately funny in a lot of different places. Not all of the time, but some really good jokes as well. So I do like this movie, and I think it's one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. So
Perfect. We'll be buying all of our former Patreon subscribers a copy. So
you look under your chair right now. There's one there.
All right, let's get into the review that you had and whatever else you've got going.
Sure, yeah. So just one review. I like to read the Roger Ebert reviews because, he's a big deal. This movie came out a little after 9/11.
I was thinking that
kind
earlier.
Of interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Take that as you will. But Raj gave this one 1.5 stars out of 4.
Ooh.
I'll read the first paragraph. Joe Somebody plays like an after-school special, with grown-ups cast in the kids' roles. It's a simple, wholesome parable, crashingly obvious, and we sit patiently while the characters in the screenplay slowly arrive at the inevitable conclusion. It needs to take some chances and surprise us. Everybody in the movie is kind of nice, except for the bully, and the principal, the boss, is patient when they learn their lessons, and Joe finds out he really is somebody when the smart girl smiles at him. So he also goes on to call kind of well-meaning but inconsequential. He calls Joe kind of milquetoast. I don't know. Just thought it was interesting. What's your take? You agree?
Yeah, a little bit harsher than I think I would have been. I don't know. What did he want them to surprise them by brawling at the end or something?
Yeah, what would the surprise be? The after school special thing is kind of funny because I guess it does.
I can see that. I can see that for sure.
Yeah, or we're learning very obvious lessons, but I don't know.
I was surprised as anyone when that ex-wife tried to sneak out in her teddy.
That's a pretty. Roger, that's a pretty big surprise. That's the only one. I think. What did we say? Did you read the Rotten Tomatoes score?
No, I'm sure it was miserable.
Let's see here. It's a 21% on Rotten Tomatoes, so that's quite low, and the audience score is 27%. So that means that
universally hated.
Critics and regular people don't like it. I gotta tell you, you guys are missing out.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We've got better taste than most people, so
I'd say so. But beyond that, that's my rep. This is kind of the definitive Joe Somebody conversation.
Probably not a lot of podcasts talking about this movie.
You'd be surprised. There's one show where they're covering like a minute a day.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Some minutes would feel very long.
But beyond that, I got some. I don't have any questions for you really.
Okay.
I guess we kind of already talked about what would make the movie better. Would be to take out some of the really, really dumb moments, but yeah, I don't know that there's a lot of obvious fixes for this one.
No, probably not.
I guess I'll ask you this: if you could put another Home Improvement person in this movie besides Benny, who would you put, and what would they play?
Well, Jim Belushi did such a good job. I can't imagine like replacing him with Richard Karn or anything. So
No.
that's out. Maybe Bud Harper plays Jeremy. Plays like the real jerk.
Okay, all right.
Get him in there.
I could see Marty as like one of like McKinney's like sniveling friends, and
Oh,
like
yeah.
McKinney punches him, and he's like, "Good job, McKinney," and then they high five.
Nobody
Something like
likes McKinney. Not anyone. McKinney
I know.
doesn't even really like himself. So
No, but Marty could.
if you need a friend, Marty's your man.
Right, and then they.
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
I can't really think of anything that really comes to mind. I'd like to see Wilson at the Timberwolves game, like holding up a foam finger in front of his face.
Yeah, the ball's covering his face.
I don't know. I got nothing. Do you have one?
No, I mean I said it. It's Marty.
Yeah, it's Marty. Yeah, I guess that's true.
That's fine.
Definitive answer right there.
Yeah, that's it. So, yeah. All right. Well, that's it. I'll talk Twitter a little bit, and then we'll get out of here.
Let's do it.
All right. If you want, you can still follow us on Twitter.
Best follow on the internet.
They say so, at Home and Podcast. I'm still tweeting some. In fact, just the other day, I had a tweet which went home improvement viral, you might say.
What was that?
Tim Allen did one of his stupid things where he, like, quoted Aristotle. Okay, his tweet is, "It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light, Aristotle." And then he put, "And remove your sunglasses indoors. Tool man." So I found a picture of Tim Allen wearing sunglasses indoors, tweeted it back at him, and said, and let's just say, I done broke the internet.
This is just proof that the internet's dumb. If that got a lot of traction,
It did. We got like 20 new followers. So
unbelievable.
You're welcome. That means we're up to 1,359 followers, and we're following 124.
We've got the best ratio of any home improvement podcast, bar none. And yeah, those 20 followers, do they stick around?
Hey, so far so good. They say your dreams can't come true, but well, mine have. With this,
Every day you prove them wrong.
This Twitter account. Other than that, let's see here. I talked to you about the Santa Claus stuff. I did a poll. The question was, is Joe really somebody? 14 total votes. This movie is not popular. People do not like this movie. I'm confused by that. 42.9% said yes. 57.1% said no. So kind of
Tough call for Joe. But you know what? He doesn't care what you think. He just cares what Meg thinks.
Yeah,
And maybe
and
his daughter.
And then the last thing that I tweeted, so everybody wants to talk about Elon Musk all the time these days. It seems like
my
that's
gosh.
all anybody wants to talk about is Elon Musk. It's like, it's inescapable. So I don't know, when he bought Twitter, didn't buy Twitter, whatever happened, one of the first things I tweeted when everybody was talking about leaving Twitter, I said, but what if Elon Musk bans all home improvement content? And that got a little bit of traction.
You know what they call that in the biz, Adam?
What's that?
Newsjacking.
Okay, I newsjacked?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. People are worried about Elon Musk and a lot of stuff, but I'm worried about what if he doesn't like home improvement?
That's a problem.
That's worth thinking about.
That is a problem in our
Well,
neighborhood.
follow us. You know, I try not to get on Twitter because it sucks, but, you know, I tweet every now and then, and, you know, we got a really good ratio going, so.
So keep it going.
I
Tell your friends.
remember when we only had like 60 followers, so this thing's really.
I mean, we
really
must
grown.
be popular because I get emails once a month from people asking if we want to grow our audience. Like we're still doing this all the time.
Yeah, do we still get a lot of horny people commenting on YouTube? I finally subscribed. I got myself out of that situation.
I haven't seen anything lately, but it's got like 37,000 views.
Never underestimate people's horniness, just like, Abby. Can't underestimate her horniness in the film.
She's watched the film once every day, or video once every day for the last year.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. But yeah, not much else on Twitter. I don't do a lot on here, but we're still there if you need us.
We're still there. I have no idea what we're covering next. We've got a couple more Patreon archive episodes coming out, so be on the lookout for those. And I'm sure we'll have something else to come up with next.
Yeah, we'll do something in a couple months. We've hit some big. This was I was listening to something we recorded in like 2018, 2019. Every once in a while, I get nostalgic, miss you, etc., and I'll go back and listen. And even in that one, I was like, we're going to cover Joe Somebody next month for Patreon. So we got there 4 years later. I had a lot of fun doing it. I don't think it let you down either.
No.
Listeners, you might think you don't like Joe Somebody. Give it a second chance. I think it's a solid one. But beyond that, we'll be back sometime in the future.
Perfect. Well, I'm sure everyone's on pins and needles until then.
Yeah.
And
thank you for joining me. Listeners, thank you for listening. I guess I should say take care.
Take care, everybody.